Right, I've left the Scilly Isles. That's them disappearing in the distance behind me. I'm at Bishop's Rock, which is well, basically the last obstacle until I clear the Scilly Isles. So this is it here. I'm just planting into the wind at the moment, so it's uncomfortable. Yeah. As usual, we've got a force 5, grey, miserable, raining. Well, and not showing any signs of it getting any better. Basically, I've got the hydrovane steering, or doing its best. It's doing a fairly good job actually. And once I get a bit further, I need to set a course of about 145 to France. So once I've got far enough past that bloody lighthouse, because it's pretty much 145 from where I am at the moment, I can just turn and set a course and just leave it, well, hopefully just leave it like that all night. And that would be great. So I just wanted to show you the weather, which is kind of well, the weather fucking shit and horrible. Right, so this is the, you know, this is what we've been getting, and then gaps, there's sunny gaps in between, but this is what we're going to get all day today and all night, right? Yeah, but then as I pan around and point the camera towards France, you'll notice that it brightens up a bit. It starts to look fairly nice over there. So I'm kind of hoping that I can, within a shortish period of time, I mean, you know, 6 to 8 hours, I would have sailed out of these fucking gales that just keep rolling in off the Atlantic. Basically, it's not that bad. It's 20 knots of wind, but we've got quite a considerable swell. There's a traffic separation zone on this side. That's the next thing I've got to pass. That's just 20 miles. I should be through that in four or 5 hours, and then so hopefully before nightfall through that. And then basically there's about 90 miles of sea before I get to another traffic separation zone on the other side. So I won't see that until dawn anyway. Dawn, 8 o'clock in the morning. So at least I can hopefully pass both of the traffic separation zones in daylight, which would work out quite well. Right. Oh, fuck's sakes. Right, it hasn't really eased up at all. So I don't know. I think it might do. It's I don't know. It dropped. The wind dropped a little bit. The sea state is better now that I've left the Scillies behind. Frankly, it is a bit better, but it's still quite choppy, so it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable tonight. But we are moving at a decent rate, so we are kind of achieving 4.5–5 knots. So I'll put a reef in about 8 o'clock tonight before it gets dark, just to take the pressure off a bit if it gets a bit gusty or the wind picks up overnight. I am still under the dark cloud, heading towards lighter cloud, and there is a little bit of blue sky starting to appear now. It kind of does look better in front, in the direction that I'm going, which is quite reassuring, I suppose, a little bit. I'm still hoping that we sail into calmer continental Europe weather. I noticed that on the weather forecast, the Bristol Channel and Shannon, the Irish Sea, is down for 4-6 today. We've got a 4. It said 3 to 4, occasionally 5, but basically it's just been a solid 5 all day, and it still is now. It's between 17 and 22 knots of wind, so that's basically a force 5, I think. I was actually just sitting here watching the gannets fly around, and then I thought, oh, there's quite a few gannets flying about, and they're clearly flying really low to the water, looking at the water quite intently. So I thought, oh, they're fishing. Obviously they're fishing, the seabirds, so, you know. And then all of a sudden, for about 5 minutes, we were joined by a small pod of Risso's dolphins, which are the ones with the white stripe down the side of them, the black ones with the white stripe down the side of them. So, and they've all moved off over there to the port of the boat now. The port of the boat, about 1/4 mile. So I guess that's where the fish have gone. Well, I can't see the dolphins, but I can see the gannets flying around intently in one area. There's about 4 or 5 of them. Right, so it's dawn, and it's a particularly grim and dreary dawn. Well, no, it's not that grim really, on account of it's not raining. If it ain't raining, it ain't that bad, is it? Like, you know, but it is an uninspiring dawn. Last night wasn't too bad. We started off with about 20 knots of wind, 17 gusting 22, and I expressed a wish for it to die off a little bit and ease off, which it did. We had about 6 hours of kind of a glorious 6 hours of 15 knots on the beam, where we were like storming along quite nicely, doing about 5 or 6 knots, kind of getting where we were going. We've dodged a few fishing vessels and containers, one of which is up there now. That's the last one we've dodged. Although it's a big bit of water, 100 odd miles across, so half a dozen boats. I've been aware of half a dozen boats. I've had to move for about 3, I think, really. That's about it, really. For the last sort of hour, we've been achieving about 2 knots, because the wind has pretty much deserted us. Although we've just literally right now just got a little bit of a gust. I've still got 62 miles to do, unfortunately. Which is a bit of a pain. No, that's 62. No, it's a bit more than that, but 62 miles to just make sure we're going in the right direction. So it's a bit of wind. 62 miles to Pierre Vert, and then there's probably about another 15 after that. So 70 odd miles until I get to an anchorage. I think it's just you're in for the long haul, isn't it? It's a fairly wide stretch of water. It's going to take as long as it takes. It'll be nice. It has been nice to actually sail the boat. Oh, this is a bit more like it. That breeze that sprung up is we're hitting 5 knots now. Which is alright. Well, this last while, literally just this moment, knocked the reef out that I put in last night at the mainsail, which I'm glad I've done, and then made that last little bit to the camera, and yeah, and now we've got this bit of a breeze. I really hope that this hangs on for a few hours at least, the morning, and we can knock some decent distance off towards the destination. So I'm approaching the traffic separation zone on the French side. So at least that part of the plan has worked out relatively well, because I've crossed both of the traffic separation zones in daylight, which is preferable. Well, for me anyway. Right, well, bit of an update. There's nothing much to say other than the wind is situation normal with the wind. It's fluctuating between like 8 knots and fuck all knots. So I've left the sails up. They're not flapping too bad in the direction that I'm going, so I've left the sails up at the moment. I am right smack bang in the middle of the traffic separation zone off Ushant. So I'm just about to leave the buffer area in the middle. I've crossed one lane and it was really busy. I mean, really busy. So I must have had to alter course and just be aware of about half a dozen boats, ships. And now I'm just about to enter, I think, the lane that's going the other way up towards the English Channel, and I can see the first ship already. So I don't know how many of those there are, but this traffic separation zone is about 20 miles wide. So at the speed that I have been going, which is like 2.5 to 3 knots, because we've got no wind, then this is taking hours and hours just to get through this. I'll be happy to be out of it before dark, really. Right. It's what time is it? Just gone 6. Just gone 6. It's gonna get dark about 8:30, 9 o'clock. It'll be dark before that. About an hour ago, the wind shifted and came out of the northwest and started pushing all those fucking horrible clouds in the direction that I'm going. Thank you very much. So that's what I was heading towards, all that nonsense over there. This is what's coming. And that fucking great thing there, which is already hissing it down over there. And I guarantee that in amongst that big bank of clouds there is really high winds, 20 plus miles an hour, force 5 and 6, everything you don't fucking want. And I've spent all day with no winds, unable to get some. Otherwise, if I'd have had a decent wind, I would have been there by now. I've had all day with no wind, which means I'm not going to get in till tomorrow morning, basically. And that fucking thing there is just going to come and hit me in the next hour and soak me to the fucking skin, and it's just going to be like 30-mile-an-hour winds in it. I'm fucking sure of it, absolutely sure of it. So I won't be able to sail in it, it'll be too fucking much. I'll just have to sit there and motor in it in the pissing rain all fucking night. All fucking night for my second night out. And that is exactly what's going to happen. Right, morning. Well, I'm in France proper. as such. Although I'm not impressed. I passed Ushant last night. It was basically, it turned out that because of the loss of wind and just plodding along at 2.5 to 3 knots, I think we were doing like 78, 80 miles like that, and not really getting anywhere fast. Then effectively, when I went past Ushant, I think it was about 11 o'clock at night when I went past Ushant, so I was not going to get into Brest till in the morning. Basically, it was going to be about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So, and I'd already been at sea for 30 plus hours, so I thought discretion would be the better part of valor, and the wind direction had changed to the northwest. So there is a bay on Ushant called Lampole, which is open to the southwest, which is the normal wind direction, which would be really uncomfortable. But as the wind had changed around to the northwest, then I thought it would be protected in some respect, and I came into Lampole and dropped the anchor randomly in the middle of the bay. It was a bit exciting. It was raining, it was quite rough. There are rocks everywhere, but there is quite a good transit to follow. The lights were quite confusing. There's 2 lighthouses, a big one and a small one. There's a red flashing marker on one side, and then like a cluster of like house lights and things in the middle. And but there is a big radar tower at the back of the island, and that gives you a mark to aim for, basically, when you're coming in. It is actually, as I found out, quite important to keep the transit right on the ball, because it's quite easy to, I think they're called the Nividic is the lighthouse. There's some rocks on the port hand side as you come in. It's quite easy to end up drifting off over to that side, which is what I did. I didn't have the transit completely cock on. So I had to my first attempt, I had to come back out and move across more as I was drifting towards this lighthouse. And then there's an island, a big island in the middle, which is really easy to see because it's like huge cliffs on it. But then I found a load of moorings. Well, let me show you. Hopefully. So there's a load of moorings down there. Now this guy and then the guy behind him had his anchor like on, and I thought, oh, they have anchored. So I went down there to check them off. Well, check them out, but they're on mooring buoys. There's more over there. I couldn't really see them very well. I tried to pick them up in the rain and everything. There's the big island in the middle, which is fairly unmissable, he says, full of confidence. And anyway, this is where I am at. It's actually quite nice on the island of Ushant. So the plan this morning, this has done the job. It's allowed me to sleep, which I desperately needed. So I just dropped all of the chain down. I found a place just roughly in the middle, just in front of the mooring buoys. Didn't seem to be anything else around, so I just dropped all of the chain down and had a run for about 15-20 minutes to see if I felt that it was going to make sure the anchor would hold. It didn't say anything in the pilot book about what the holding's like in here, so I set the anchor watch on the chart plotter as well, if so the alarm would go off if we drifted more than I set the length of the chain, which is 200 foot. So let's set the anchor watch for 200 foot. So if we swung in excess of 200 foot, then we're definitely slipping. But looking at it now, We haven't moved at all. I don't think we've moved at all. This has been quite good. It's quite uncomfortable though. It rolls a lot. This is what it said in the pilot book. Actually, the wind has come around. It is slightly protected, but the swell is hooking around and coming in, so it's quite a rolly anchorage. So I'm going to move on from here as soon as I've eaten and washed and sorted my shit out. I'm going to move on from here.